So first of all, for me they're all performers, so the sound is performing, and Pantelis is on stage as a performer, Telemakhos is a performer, and Rosa as well. By the way, this is Rosa who has just joined us. The method that we developed, not the actual process, but the method is more like a chaotic method. It seems very chaotic, but through chaos, the structure starts to form itself. What I was interested in doing is not to how to use the imagery and the sound and the text, not in the obvious way, not in the literal way, because I wished that the whole performance shifts from the literal, realistic world to a more mythical, unconscious world of fear. So it was important to have to create a space for the sound design and also for the visuals and for the text, and to find ways to bring this all together and make it a very interactive with the audience.
I think if I could add something to what you're saying, my experience was that you were trying to put in many different times. So there's the mythical time that has a certain text, and then it comes back and it's more violent with the use of the video and the music. There's a space that's more direct with the audience, which is more like stand-up comedy and more now, every day. So then we have like a journey through time. Then we have something that's more Athens today, somehow like a guide in Athens. Then we have again the mythical part, and then we have something for the future. So for me it was like you were trying to go through space and time with all these different ways at the same time. So it was like a journey on many different in many different places somehow.
Yeah, because for me it's like to go to find like a message and to give a real message for what's going on in Athens, in Greece, or in the world. Is like reality is so dense and there are so many layers that are happening at the same time, and the crisis is kind of affecting everybody on all levels, like unconsciously, mythical. There are all these realities that we are part of. And so I think what you're saying is right.
And I remember at the beginning we wanted to create an image of what Athens looks from the outside.
And I remember we worked a lot on the stereotypical images of Greece as well, like tourists, and this image of Greece as being a touristic.
And one more thing, again, how do I see your way of direction? I think there's a strong eye for rhythm. So somehow there's moments that there's explosions and you know that something is shocking, and there's other moments when things are more soft or comic or fluid or lyrical or to do with tradition or the past or the Telemakhos music. So somehow there's a rhythm that goes.
And it's very difficult to keep like that rhythm that Rosa says. It's very difficult to have three performers on stage and trying to give them to understand that they have to create tools. We had to create tools on stage that we didn't know in advance, like all three of us. But we had to take a research that we've done before, like from different perspectives, and then we had to create some tools to be able to reach a method or to reach the direction of Eli, or to reach the collaboration, or to reach the message or the point.
The thing about the crisis is that it kind of feels as a weather phenomenon, like something that is it comes and goes, and it's in everyday small things and big things, and there's all these scales, like epic scale. We've been out in the streets and we've seen for the first time like thousands of people demonstrating for the same thing, and then you see a detail that you remark, and it's equally important. So I think all these levels and how to create this flux situation that is very much in flux.
Yes.
And I didn't want to actually say any of that. And I think that's why it was equally important to bring other elements that will not be literal, will create another world where the audience taking a distance might be also connected with, in connection with this material, because it's also a material about fear or dark explosions and areas that are not so tangible.
Yes, I was thinking again to combine what Telemachos was saying with what you are saying. So, for instance, we had the snake goddess, which is the opening, almost the opening scene. So we have the snake goddess, which is a mythical image with a text that's written about today in a very poetic way. And then we have the way it was spoken was this Afro-American spoken word inspired way. So then we were trying to combine, and again the imagery was modern, everyday, now data about what happens in the crisis. So then now I realized that we were trying to combine with so many different ways and so many different stimuli to create one image.
But this is also what's happening in Greece.
Yeah.
A lot of people are trying to bring their personality and to communicate in demonstrations all those years. Like different people come on the streets and they realize that they're very, very different, but at the same time they have to demonstrate against one thing. So we also had to become one unit to be able to demonstrate on stage, kind of. Because I always felt that we almost demonstrated, especially when we were going outside of Greece to perform. It felt like demonstrating for the Greeks, for the Athenians.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is important also, how the show, when it was presented in other countries and everything. And I remember that in Germany, for example, we kind of created, the first day was like, I think our audience was kind of shocked, like angry, or I kind of felt that in the air. I can't actually, put my hand on it, but I felt that the audience was like offended. Of course, because the first day. Yeah, just the first day, because they were highly educated and they knew about the Greek crisis, and we were still provoking them. And I think it's important also how you deal with this thing. Like when we went back and we discussed it, and we realized what it is that made people angry or provoked people a lot, then we decided that we will do even more of that. And the next day we just went, we gave it more of freedom to ourselves to really go all the way and provoke even more. And then the audience started laughing. So it's also a matter of limit.
I remember very clearly that it was freedom and fun at the same time.
Yeah.
So from you, that was a very clear direction towards me, that although the material can be aggressive in a way, it has to be fun also. It has to be fun. Edgy, but fun. So I think that's what creates the atmosphere of the audience.